Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:30. Please join us for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Please call the roll. Present.
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 Explain.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go out of order here. We're going to do our recognizing the firemen tonight first. So anybody that's here for that, we're going to do that first. So everybody, if you want, you don't have to sit around. You can go ahead and leave after that. So we're going to do that now, and then we'll move into the regular portion of the meeting. So feel free, if you're here for that, you guys can leave. We won't trap you here.
And the regular meeting is very exciting, and you might want to enjoy that.
Right. Okay.
But afterwards, tell them about the
Yeah, and then afterwards, once we get through our public portion of the meeting comments, we're then going to have a presentation. No question and answers for that tonight. That'll be a later date at Riverside. Tonight, he's simply going to, Treasurer Zern is going to do a presentation on some property tax information, and that'll be later. We'll post that. He's going to do a PowerPoint. We'll also post that PowerPoint on our website so anybody can access it there if they want to. And then February 25th, there will be a presentation at Riverside High School in the auditorium. That presentation, there will be a question and answer session. So tonight,
6 o'clock, right, Mike?
6:30. So tonight
We've gone back and forth.
Tonight's simply just a presentation, no question, no Q&A. That Q&A will be later at Riverside. So that being said, Chief, you want to come on up?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I have you, Kevin and Jerry and back? All right. Good evening.
Camera, Sean? Are they in the camera view?
So for those of you that don't know me, we good, Sean? My name is Eric Burchak. I'm your Township Fire Chief. It's my pleasure to work with these guys, and my pleasure to honor these three, Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, Firefighter Gary Reed, and Firefighter Matthew Watson, for their actions that they took in September of 2025 down on Robin Hood Drive. So I'm going to read a little synopsis of the fire, and then I'll read about the award that I'm going to present them, and then Chairman Cicconetti will read a proclamation, and then we'll be done. So this is what we would call in the fire service a high-risk, low-frequency event, which means there's a great deal of chance for bodily harm for the firefighters or whoever's involved in this event. And low frequency means it doesn't occur that often. So they have to rely on their training and their practice because we don't do this that much. So without further ado, on September 27th, 2025 at 11:03 a.m., the Township Fire Department was dispatched to report a structure fire at 991 Robin Hood down in the park. While responding, the crew of ladder 2739, which is Station 3 on Hardy Road, received an update reporting a special needs victim was trapped inside the structure. Upon arrival, the crew of 2739, Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, Firefighter Matthew Watson, and Firefighter Gary Reed observed a one-story wood-frame dwelling which was well involved in fire. Heavy fire was showing at the BC corner, which is, so the front of the structure is the A side. Moving around to the left would be B, C, and then D. So just so you have a little perspective. At the BC corner, which was the back corner of the building, of the house, with extension throughout the structure, meaning that fire was extending towards the front inside. Civilians on scene indicated that the 20-year-old autistic female's bedroom was in front of the dwelling at the AB corner on the left side, and the front entrance was located at the front of the dwelling at the AD corner on the right side. Fire had already begun to consume the top of the closed entrance door, so fire was already through the entire house. The victim's bedroom did not have a standard size window. The window was small, approximately 2 foot by 3 foot, too small for entry or egress, and heavy smoke was pushing through the partially open window. Lieutenant Falvey ordered Firefighter Watson to stretch an 1 3/4 inch attack line to the window and immediately began applying water inside through the open window. Firefighter Gary Reed, a master pump operator, flawlessly got them water, which is very important. I mean, you know, it's high stress again. There's a lot of things going on at these scenes. He operated the pumps. They had water almost immediately. Firefighter Watson began applying his hose stream as directed, while Lieutenant Falvey conducted a quick 360, went around the building. He returned to the front entrance and ordered Firefighter Watson to don his SCBA, put his mask on. They're going to make entry. Falvey and Watson went on air, opened the front door, and began their push into the interior. They immediately encountered heavy fire conditions upon opening the door. Watson opened the tip. The two made entry, beating back the fire as they went. They made their way into the foyer, into the living room, turned left, and located the partially open bedroom door. Now, I went into the house afterwards. It wasn't just go in and turning. You had to go in about 10 feet, then turn into the living room, and then into her bedroom. So they're basically in the center of the house at this point. Firefighter Watson made his way into the bedroom, encountering heavy smoke and high heat, and encountered numerous furnishings and located a victim lying prone next to her bed. She was face down. She was unresponsive at this time. Falvey and Watson immediately began to extricate the victim, but due to her size, she was a bariatric patient, and she's autistic. Due to her size, they were unable to extricate her by themselves. At this time, the two had to refocus their efforts on suppression as the fire was once again advancing on their position at the bedroom entrance. Lieutenant Falvey radioed command. Lieutenant Chad Tukovic is here. He was command that they located the victim but needed additional manpower for extrication. Command assigned the Painesville City Fire Department, who had just arrived to assist Interior with the victim removal. So two guys from Painesville City went in to help them. They donned their SCB, entered without protection of a hose line, made their way to Falvey and Watson's position at the bedroom door, and they began to extricate the bariatric victim while Lieutenant Falvey continued to push the fire back from their position in the structure. They eventually were able to remove her to a waiting cot at the front door. She was found to be breathing with a pulse and was immediately transported to a local hospital by the Leroy Fire Department. We've got a lot of communities on scene when we have a fire. The victim's father was outside of the structure with severe burns to his upper body and possible inhalation injuries. He was trying to fight the fire before we got there. He was also transported by Painesville Township Squad 2712. Medevac was requested, helicopter, to meet the squads at the hospital, and both victims were transferred to the Cleveland Metro Health Burn Unit. The female remained in a medically induced coma and was intubated for approximately 1 week. She had a tube. She eventually was extubated, they took the tube out, and now is recovering from her injuries and has made a full recovery. Her father died a week later due to his injuries, but she's doing well. I spent the first 30 years of my career as a Cleveland firefighter until retiring in June of 2023 and coming here. And I've seen a lot of fires, probably more than they have, being from a large metropolitan department. And these things don't work out this way often. Usually it's a recovery, more often than not. These guys did a hell of a job, really. I mean, I'm impressed. I believe they risked serious injury or death pushing their way into this well-involved dwelling and then switching to rescue while the fire was still coming from the rear of the interior. They are all worthy of recognition, and I believe they exemplify what the Life-Saving Award stands for. So this is the life-saving citation. Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, Firefighter Matthew Watson, Firefighter Gary Reed, for heroic life-saving actions on September 27, 2025, during a structure fire at 991 Robin Hood Drive. Lieutenant Falvey, Firefighter Watson, and Firefighter Reed responded to a working structure fire with reports of a female occupant trapped. Upon arrival, they were confronted with heavy smoke and dangerous fire conditions that pose an immediate and significant threat to life. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, these firefighters acted without hesitation, displaying exceptional courage, professionalism, and teamwork. They advanced into the burning residence, knowingly placed themselves in harm's way to locate and rescue the trapped occupant. Through their decisive actions and coordinated efforts, they successfully removed the female to safety, directly saving her life. Their conduct reflects the highest traditions of the fire service and demonstrates extraordinary bravery and selfless devotion to duty. This life-saving medal is awarded in recognition of their actions, which directly resulted in the preservation of a human life. Good job, guys. Here are your awards.
I'll read this, and then we'll come around and we'll present them to you.
All right.
So, as Chief mentioned, this isn't a normal thing that these guys encounter, so we're definitely, as a township, proud to have, these firefighters and their heroism they showed and the work they did to save a life. So we want to present them with a proclamation. I'll read that, honoring Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, Firefighter Matthew Watson, and Firefighter Gary Reed for their acts of heroism on September 27, 2025. Structure fire occurred at a residence located at 991 Robin Hood, presenting an immediate and life-threatening emergency. and during this incident, a female occupant was reported trapped inside the burning structure, placing her at extreme risk of injury or death. Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, firefighter Matthew Watson, and firefighter Gary Reed, members of the Painesville Township Fire Department, responded to the incident and, without hesitation, placed themselves in harm's way. Demonstrating exceptional courage, skill, and professionalism, these firefighters advanced into a hostile and dangerous environment characterized by fire, heat, and smoke conditions in order to locate and rescue the trapped occupant. Through their decisive actions, teamwork, and unwavering commitment to the preservation of life, Lieutenant Falvey, firefighter Watson, and firefighter Reed successfully effected the rescue of the female occupant, directly saving her life. Their actions amplify the highest traditions of the fire service and reflect great credit upon themselves, the Painesville Township Fire Department, and the community they serve. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Painesville Township Trustees hereby formally recognize and commend Lieutenant Kevin Falvey, firefighter Matthew Watson, and firefighter Gary Reed for their heroic actions and extraordinary bravery displayed during the September 27th, 2025 structure fire at 991 Robin Hood. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation is issued in grateful appreciation of their selfless service, dedication to duty, and steadfast commitment to protecting life and property. Sean, do you want to, we'll come around. Can you roll that out, and then we'll come around? And...
I also want to add one quick thing too. I also nominated them at the state fire marshal level for a Valor Award, which I have no reason to believe they won't receive. And also the Lake County Bluecoats have been advised of what they've done, and hopefully they'll be recognized by the Bluecoats. So I want to move this.
You're going to be here? Here, this line. This line. Yep. Sean, you guys want to come up? We'll do a group picture real quick with the chief and
Put them in the middle. We'll go on the edges. You have to step forward. Good stuff.
So as mentioned, if you were here for that, you're more than welcome to, we'll give you a moment to.
But trustee meetings are exciting. And property tax is interesting.
John, thanks. Thanks. I'd love to stay for the meeting, but I promised cheesy bread for the whole.
I see it.
See you, Jim.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
See him.
You're where you'd rather be on the Tuesday night before OTA.
We're now. Are we allowed to?
I know.
You can close the door.
Hey, Matt, we can close. Not all the way, but we can. Hey, Chief. Can you close those? Not all the way. Leave them open just a little bit, but
Well,
just.
they'll be unlocked. You can close them. They'll be unlocked.
Oh yeah, they're unlocked. You can close them.
It's okay.
They're unlocked, so it's okay.
Perfect.
Okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes from the January 27th, 2026 meeting.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Summary of the work session, please.
All right, today during the work session, we entered executive session at 6:04 under Ohio Revised Code 121.22 to discuss the collective bargaining agreement update and compensation for non-CBA employees. We reconvened the regular meeting at 6:39, at which time I reported that the bid notice has been published for the single hauler specs that we're looking for right now, and the LCTA meeting reminder for February 12th at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall. Fire Chief reported on the Volunteer Dependency Fund Board member update, which is on the agenda tonight. Some updates to the old paging system to get rid of that. He updated us on the Grand River expenses for the month of January and the Station 1 sewer line repairs that are still needed. The Service Director discussed replacing plows on the smaller trucks. And we also discussed the work that we'll do in-house to replace the floor drains at Station 1, saving in excess of $10,000 in repairs. And then the zoning director reported on some zoning text changes. Those are on the agenda tonight to be received. Updated us on the Kurtz Brothers development site. We have the MOU for. Discussed zoning issues on the east end of the township and a new business owner with some zoning use compliance issues.
Okay. This is the public portion. Any old business from the floor? Hearing none. Any new business? Yes.
Oh, wait.
Well,
I don't know if it classifies as old business or new business, but I wanted to say thank you.
okay.
Uh,
We just ask you come up to the lectern. Name and address for the record, please.
Spin that around for you.
Spin that around.
You're good. You can face that.
It kind of feels kind of weird.
Yeah, you're fine. Get ready for presentation.
My name is Mary Ellen Abel. I live at 50 Barley Drive, Painesville Township, Ohio. I am thanking you, and this Sheriff's Department doesn't have a member here.
Not
do they?
tonight, no.
For cleaning up the traffic mess in front of Riverview. Yes, I am the queen bitch. I think I talked to 7 or 8 different people because it wasn't because of the addition. That was the problem when the school even first opened. And it's been exacerbated by, what's the street that's closed now?
Madison Avenue.
Madison Avenue has made it even worse. The other thing I'd like to say is, last summer I called, I think it was someone in the road department who has since retired, and I asked about the condition of Barley Drive and Meadows. I said, I've been walking my dogs in the neighborhood for 3 or 4 years, and I said, they haven't sealed a crack in that 3 or 4 years. Last summer they came around and did some patching, but I just happened to read in the newspaper, and I'm not sure if it was the News Herald or the Tribune, that Barley and Meadows are going to be resurfaced this year.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
The other thing is there anything been found out about what the status of Madison Avenue is? Because it's like a 4-mile detour, or even worse if you go down Bohol to get around the
We have requested update from the engineer's office, and to this point at this meeting, we have not gotten a response yet. So we're still feeding off of old information that we received, that they are investigating the issue. They had to bring in the Army Corps of Engineers, correct?
again.
So yeah, I have a little, I guess, more information just with my day job as an engineer, that they do have a contractor ready to start. The first step is going to be some work to stabilize the existing wall and the slope so that it doesn't get any worse and they don't kind of lose the whole road. And then in the spring would be the permanent fix. So hopefully by June, the road would be reopened.
Because it's been like closed for almost 3 years, except for 6 months that
There was
it
a short
was
period where it was
actually open.
Different section of the wall, and I know there's been a lot of comments that whatever they did to fix the wall before didn't work. Well, they fixed what had failed, and now the next piece down ended up failing. So,
Of course. Yeah. Okay.
but yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else? Any new business from the floor? Hearing none, we'll close the public portion. Lake County Sheriff's Office is not present. We're going to move ahead with Treasurer Zurin and allow him to do his presentation. So he'll make this presentation. It'll be up on the screen there, the PowerPoint, and then it'll also be posted on our websites for anybody that wants to access that. Anybody watching at home wants to access this in the next day or two, it'll be posted on our website.
And if anybody wants to get up and move and sit closer to the TV,
Turn your chair, whatever
turn
you
your
need
chair,
to do.
whatever.
All right, well, first of all, I just want to thank the trustees, Painesville Township trustees, especially Chuck Hillier for inviting me to talk about property taxes. This really became a serious issue in 2024 when the state started reevaluating the properties, and everybody's property throughout the state went up 30 to 40%. That really caused a deep look at the property tax issue. And with quite a few individuals giving presentations about eliminating property taxes, which I understand they are too high. But I think looking at the whole picture of where property taxes are right now, all the legislation that passed in December of 2025, which is going to have a positive impact on lowering property taxes, and kind of a background picture of why property taxes have continued to creep up over 30 to 40 years, will give a better picture and a better explanation on where property taxes should go in the future. So, so the first thing I want to mention is this slide right here. So what happened in November or December of last year is the states, due to legislation that passed in June of last year, the counties are able to double the owner occupancy credit and double the homestead credit. So if you qualify for homestead, or if you live in your house and you have the occupancy credit because it's your primary resident, you will see that it has been doubled. Now, what that means for a senior who qualifies for homestead, you're probably going to get between $400 and $700 more in a credit this year than you've gotten in the past. If you qualify for owner occupancy, it's about $100 more. So the tax bills went out about a week ago, and a lot of people are calling up to the treasurer's office and they're saying, hey, I don't owe anything this time, or it's $700 less. So if you go to the next screen, what you're looking for is the homeowner, the occupancy credit and the homestead credit have been renamed because half is coming from the state and half is coming from the county. So the homestead credit is HOA, it says state and local, and it's considerably bigger than last year if you look at that line, but that's the homestead credit. And then right below that, they renamed the occupancy credit OCC, and that is just because half of it's coming from the state, half of it's coming from the county. But you'll see that they're roughly double what they were than in years past. So that is the first thing that I want to point out, and I'm only going to talk for like 15, 20 minutes, so I'm going to go over this pretty quickly. There's a lot of legislation that was passed in December 2025 that really has not impacted. It will take up to 3 years to have an impact on your property tax bill. But I want to go over them really quickly just to let you know what's going to be happening and how this is going to lower your tax bills over the next 3 years. So the first one is House Bill 124, and this is every 3 years the county auditor pulls sales data and they come up with a new valuation on your house. In the past, when they pulled the sales data, they just went with the top figures. So whatever the most recent highest sales were in the last 3 years, they went with that. But everyone knows I've owned my house for my current house 5 years, and the previous one 22 years before that. And when you live in a house, typically there's things that you need to do to your house. It's not the pristine house on the whole street. When you go to sell your house, you fix it up, you paint it, you put new carpet in, you want top dollar for your house. those are the comparables that have been pulled according to the state of Ohio, what they had to compare houses to. So the auditor now has the leeway to say the average house isn't the pristine house in the neighborhood. The average house is this sales price. So they could look at the data and they could say this is the average sales price, not this everything's fixed up and you walk in there and you want to buy the house, it looks like the best house in the neighborhood. That's a big difference because you may have $30,000 or $40,000 that between the highest priced house in the neighborhood and the average priced house in the neighborhood. So this is a big deal. But this is going to take 3 years to have an impact the next time the auditor looks at valuations. The next one is House Bill 129, and this will also have a big impact because schools receive additional funding if they don't have so much levy money coming in. And there are certain levies that don't count towards this 20 mil floor, which goes to the schools. And this bill puts everything, all tax money that schools receive into this calculation. So this, in a nutshell, this is going to have a positive impact on tax bills. It'll
Explain the 20 mil floor, it's still confusing, I've heard it before explained.
if a school
Dumb it
isn't
down.
getting 20 mils in tax levy from the community, then they automatically receive an increase when house values go up.
To the 20
So-
mil point?
Right, but the big issue that they caught in this bill is if it's an emergency levy, because you could have different types of levies. If it's an emergency levy, it didn't count in the calculation. They could be receiving enough money to qualify for the 20 mil floor, but it's classified a different way and it's not counted in the calculation.
But this will include it.
This will include it, right, so that'll have an impact. The next one that I want to mention real quickly is House Bill 186. So in 2024, when they got the revaluation and your house went up 30 to 40%. It's probably when it went up in valuation in Lake County. This bill says that the increase in your taxes can only be tied to inflation. So if inflation the last 3 years was 2%, 2%, 2%, so that's 6%, and your house went up 40%, your property taxes can only go up what inflation was the last 3 years, 6% in this example. This will have an impact. So this is controlling the increase in your property taxes. So this is
Is this something that's been passed or something that they're looking at?
these all passed. These have all passed. So this is House Bill 309 is one more I just want to briefly explain. So there is a budget committee that looks at all the levies every year, and they approve the levies. So an entity, the police, the fire, the schools, somebody passes a levy, and there's a commission that the treasurer, the auditor, and the prosecutor sit on, and they look at the levies and they approve the levies for collection each year. They had no authority in the past. They just had to sign the levy and let it go through. And this House Bill 309 changes it, where if you have a government entity that does not need the money, the levy passed, but they have enough money in the bank to last for the next 1 or 2 years. They could pay everybody, pay all their bills, and they don't even need to collect the money. This bill 309 allows the budget commission to say, we're not collecting it this year. We're not going to put it on the tax bills. We're not collecting it. You got enough in the bank. Next year you can come back to us when you've paid down the money in the bank, and then maybe we'll put the levy back on and collect it in the property taxes. This is a big deal because there are government entities in Lake County that have enough money to operate for next year without collecting a levy. This is a great bill. And then there is, I'm not going to go into the next one, but if we could go to one more. Okay, so these bills that passed in December have not had much of an impact. They haven't had much of an impact yet because a lot of these are tied to house valuations. These are going to happen when the auditor reevaluates the houses in 2027. So every 3 years they reevaluate the property values. So this year, it's impacted the average tax bill $128. But when you hit that cycle in 2027, when houses are reevaluated, you'll see the real change, that they're not going up as much, or they may not go up at all, depending on valuations, as they did in the past.
Mike,
Yes.
so when they did the last one, my house went up to 30-some percent, 40, I think it was 40%.
Right.
My taxes went up about 18%. But in the example you gave about inflation, that would have capped the tax increase at 6%? Because it would have been 2, 2, and 2 the 3 prior years?
If the inflation was 2, 2, and 2, 6% would have been the maximum increase over what you were paying the year before.
Prior. Oh, that's nice, okay.
So that'll have an impact. The other thing besides the reevaluation year, which is a big deal, is if there is a government entity in Lake County that has a lot of money in the bank and they do not need the tax levy, we could freeze it. And that is a real big deal, because that is going to put the government agencies in check. If you have enough money, you do not need to collect this money for taxes and just keep building up your bank account. So I like all this legislation. It had a little impact this year, but over the next couple of years, I think you'll see the big impact that this has made. There are some surveys that are out there about property taxes. I'm not going to go into those. I'll go into those at the school, because I want to get into what property taxes pay for. So if we could go a few more, one more. Okay, this is extremely hard to read, but I think it's really important, because when you look at what property taxes pay for, if you look at the middle of the property tax bill, it says distribution, and underneath that, it lists where the taxes go, what you're paying for. The first line encompasses a lot of things, which is Lake County. That's all it says is Lake County. But Lake County, that line of taxes pays for Job and Family Services, Deepwood, the Sheriff's Department, EMS, the Adams Board, Lakeland, Council on Aging, all the Meals on Wheels programs. It pays for the Metro Parks, General Health District, and I didn't name all of them, but it pays for a tremendous amount of services throughout Lake County, which are extremely important and make things happen. So when you look at that one line, it just says Lake County, but it doesn't really explain what it really means. So I think that's extremely important. I have one slide here.
So hold on, there's a long list of where the money goes. How much of it leaves Lake County?
How much of it leaves Lake County?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that. I
Okay.
don't know the answer to that question.
Very little though, right? I mean,
I don't know if any of it leaves the property taxes. I don't know
Yes.
if any of it leaves Lake County. I'd have to.
I believe that was the answer, yes. I was hedging, saying very little, but yes, zero. So I guess to that point of the property taxes we pay stay here in Lake County. They don't go to the state to be used for state operations and disappear. They get used in Lake County.
So let's go to the next slide here. Okay, I've got a kind of a history on why property taxes have increased so much, and I don't want to go into great detail, but what's happened over the last 40 years is the state government has given a lot less to the local government fund, the local townships and cities, because what they've done is they're collecting less. And here's a good example through income tax. So if you went all the way back to 1985, the income tax top rate was about 9% in Ohio, and now it's 2.75. That's fantastic, but what that means is they're collecting a lot less money at the state level that they were sending through to the local level to pay for services. So now what's happening is services are being paid by the local level for local services. So that's just a quick summary of what's happened. So if we go to the next slide. So property taxes are about $24 billion in the state of Ohio. And if we could go to the next slide, a breakdown of where that money goes, 60% go to schools and 40% go to everything else. So public safety, roads, libraries, senior programs. So what potentially could be cut if property taxes are eliminated would be the next slide. So public safety, police, EMS, education. even though the state is required to fund the schools if property taxes are eliminated, the question is, how much are they going to fund the schools? I mean, are they going to fund them at a minimum level where they receive 50% of what they're receiving now? The answer is no one knows, but it would be a big issue. Infrastructure, roads, bridges. I live in Concord, and that is a really big deal to me. Police and fire and roads, that is extremely important because of where I live. Parks, recreation, social services, libraries, senior services. I know Meals on Wheels. I think they distribute over 100,000 meals per year, and that really is the backbone of helping seniors live in their house, which I 100% believe seniors should be able to live in their house as long as they want. And Meals on Wheels is a big part of it. That is a service that really allows them to do that. So some of the discussion that I've heard from the state would be the next slide. Would be one way to save about 10% of costs the first year only would be to merge as many of the townships and small cities, libraries, and schools together. Just merge them all together, cut costs. That is one thing that has been mentioned at the state level. Another thing that could happen would be senior services. Not only Meals on Wheels, but a lot of the services were in-home services where they may help with grocery shopping, they help with with laundry, they may help with many other things for seniors, which I think are extremely important because seniors should be able to stay in their house. Those services could disappear, and that would be a huge issue. Some of the things that have been talked about for revenue replacement, increasing the sales tax. The problem with that is if you're out of line with all the other states around you, then why wouldn't you just shop at a surrounding state, especially if the sales tax is significantly higher
What are
here?
you talking and going to, Mike? What have you heard?
I heard as high as 18%, but if you're paying 7.25% and it goes to 18%, I mean, is it worth it to go to Erie, PA to shop? I mean, I don't know. I mean, that is a big difference. And then taxing food, payroll taxes, new taxes, user fees. And I talked to two, I just think this is really interesting. I talked to two colleges, and I had about 60 students in the presentation. And I asked them, we went over this presentation, I asked them, what do you think? What do you think would be fair? None of them owned a house, they're all 18 years old, they probably live with their parents, and they all came up with the same answer, a resident tax. And I was shocked that they thought a resident tax was fair. They don't own a house, and they thought that everybody should pay. I just thought that was interesting that that's what these students came up with as one of the solutions. They didn't think property taxes should be eliminated, but they thought that was a different way to generate income. So the next slide, and I'll wrap it up real quick. There are some other. Actually, I want to go to the next slide. I've been asked a lot about other sources of income that the state receives, and I think this is a very interesting slide. So medical marijuana receives about $116 million a year in taxes. The state receives that. Gambling, sports betting, about $26 million. Alcohol and beer, 100 to 150 million per year, depending on the year. And this is the big one that you always see is, why doesn't the Ohio Lottery pay for schools? They pay a tremendous amount. The Ohio Lottery brings in a profit of $4.38 billion. This was last year, and not a profit, but that was their sales. And they sent $1.4 billion last year to the schools, the state education fund. That's a lot of money. You know, that is a program that's bringing in a lot.
Because way back, I mean, ancient,
Yeah, real quick, I know you have questions, but after the meeting, we could address them directly, just because if we open the floor to one for questions, then we have to open it to everybody, and we've set that this is not gonna be a Q&A session, so not to come down on you directly, but it's just, we have to keep that kind of consistency. So
Okay.
maybe afterwards, if you wanna have a question for the treasurer.
Okay, and then just to wrap it up, so I just thought that was interesting, some of the syntax is where money comes from, and I think 1.4 billion is quite a bit that goes to the school from that one source. So I have a survey about property taxes that I have some copies, I'll give them to you, Dave. And there's some questions on here that I think are really interesting. One of them is, what is the most important service to you as a resident? And the next slide shows that public safety, I had about 1,200 people respond. Public safety is number one, schools number two, roads number three. Suggestions and concerns about property taxes. The biggest concern is school funding. That was the biggest concern. Concern for seniors and the disabled and low-income families. Concern that some of the services would be eliminated. Suggestions from the survey for reducing spending at state level. And the biggest things were eliminate vacant positions and just eliminate the position, don't rehire if there's an open position. Reform grants, implement outcome-based budgeting. If it doesn't make sense, eliminate the program. And then look at certain programs that are federally mandated, such as Medicare and block grants, and control the cost, control the increased spending. Those were some of the comments which I thought were pretty interesting. So with that, I'm going to give you the surveys.
Okay.
And if anybody has any questions, I'll be over here and talk to you afterwards. Thank you.
So we'll put like. So again, for everybody in the room that want some of the stuff you couldn't see, etc., that'll be posted on our website in the next day or two. And anybody that watches this at home, same thing, that it'll be posted on there so you can access that PowerPoint directly and zoom in for the small print to see if you want to see anything directly. PainesvilleTWP.com. And we'll put it right on the front homepage. Can you do that, Ray?
Sure.
We'll put it right on the homepage so you don't have to search for it. So we'll make sure we'll put a little icon there or something to note that's where it's at, so you'll be able to easily access it and not have to search through the different pages and whatnot. Okay? And then again, February 25th, 6:30 at Riverside will be a longer presentation, a little more comprehensive. That will include a Q&A session as well after the presentation. So if there's more questions for the treasurer or anybody else that'll be there presenting, that'll be the time. So you heard some of it here. If it got the thoughts moving, you can kind of think of the questions you might want to ask. That'll be your opportunity to get the answers maybe that you're looking for. Okay?
That's it, the 25th?
Yep, at Riverside High School in the auditorium, 6:30 p.m.
And you're gonna hang around just in case anybody wants to ask you a question or two?
I'll hang around a few minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, post meeting, once we're done, treasurer will hang out in here or in the lobby there, and if you have any questions, quick questions for him, he's volunteered to hang out and answer those for you. Okay, moving on then. Department reports. Service department? Nothing to report. Fire?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Zoning?
Nothing to add, Mr. Chairman.
Law director?
Nothing to add.
Administrator? All right. Fiscal officer?
Nothing at this time.
So we only have 2 lines for this resolution. Should there be 3? Because it's should be 3, right? There's 2 lines on the resolution, but we're appointing 3 people for the fire board, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Civilian should be.
Yes. Okay. So resolution 2026-010 to appoint Gabe Cicconetti, Josh Pennock, and Tim Hickey to the Volunteer Firefighters Dependent Board. Any discussion?
None.
No.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Chairman, make the motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2026-015, resolution declaring that operation of a Class 2 compost facility I'll read it. We're going to table this. Facility by Kurtz Brothers, Inc. constitutes a similar use to other uses permitted in the I-2 Industrial District, subject to all conditions of the approved conditional use permit for the property located at 775 Hardy Road. We are going to...
You'll entertain a motion to table?
I'll entertain a motion to table that to the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's tabled to the next meeting. Resolution 2026-017, entering into a contract for police protection with the Lake County Board of Commissioners. Any discussion? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2026-018 to hire James Bruno effective February 5th, 2026 with a starting rate pay of $19.43 per hour in the fire department. Any discussion?
None.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2026-019 to approve the Lake County Engineers Office to prepare bidding documents, advertise for bids, and perform construction administration for the 2026 Lake County Resurfacing Project, LCE Project Number 2025-020 for Painesville Township. Any discussion?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, make the motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2026-020 to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the Painesville Township Board of Trustees and Kurtz Brother, Inc. I will entertain a motion to table that to the next meeting.
I'll make the motion to table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 32.09C known as zoning case 2025-0327-ZC and to set a public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. Is there a motion?
Discussion?
Any discussion? We're moving to just, any discussion? No?
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion to acknowledge the receipt.
I'll make that motion. Approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 32-04G known as zoning case 2025-0328-ZC and to set public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. immediately following zoning case 0327. Any discussion?
None.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 5 known as zoning case 2025-039-ZC and to set a public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. immediately following the previous cases. Any discussion?
None.
Entertain a motion.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 8.03A and 8.04A known as zoning case 2025-0330-ZC and to set a public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. immediately following the previous mentioned cases. Is any discussion?
None.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 12-05I, known as zoning case 2025-0331-ZC, and to set public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. immediately following the previous cases. Any discussion?
No.
Entertain a motion to
Chairman,
approve.
make that motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 31-03B1B, known as zoning case 2025-0332-ZC, and to set public hearing date of March 2nd, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. immediately following the previous cases. Is there any discussion?
None.
No.
Okay, entertain a motion to acknowledge.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to acknowledge receipt of proposed text amendments to section 29-06, known as zoning case 2025-0333-ZC, and to set public hearing date of March 2nd at 7:30 p.m. immediately following the previous cases. Any discussion?
None.
No.
Motion to acknowledge receipt.
Chairman, I'll make that motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything else? Trustees, nothing else? Motion to adjourn at 8:19 p.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Look at us.
All right. So, Michael, they got questions for you. Have at it.